Hello, this is Nazo, and we're back with Dota 2 for today on the ESL India Premiership. I'll be casting with CloudX for today. We have Uni5ive versus Annihilation. So, CloudX, how are you feeling today?
What's up, Nazul? Thank you for having me here. For once, you're going to be in the driver's seat, and I will be your passenger. Uni5ive versus man, these guys. It's really hard when they don't tag up, man. My memory is completely failing on me. Who's Uni5ive playing up against? Annihilation? Yeah, that's the team, right?
Right.
Right. So Annihilation on the dire. Drops already underway. What have we got here? A Sven and a Lion getting picked up as the first two. Invoker, Alchemist, Witch Doctor, and the Dragon Knight banned out by the Dire. On the Radiant side, they've got the Phoenix and the Void, while they banned out the Doom, Spectre, the Puck, and the Silencer. So standard stuff so far. I've also been told that Uni5ive is a team that was formerly known as NS Pro. So I believe they've got a couple of 5Ks and even a 6K in their ranks. And the last time I saw them was at a LAN tournament in Bangalore. No, it was actually at the TE Gaming Cup. They're one of the teams that qualified for the TE Gaming Cup, and unfortunately they didn't get too far in the cup, but they're one of the few teams that you could say rank somewhere in the top 10 of Indian Dota, but that is assuming that this is the same team.
Right. And I guess the drafts indicate that they have a grasp of the meta as it is right now. And it seems that all teams are settling into 6.87 comfortably now that we're into 6.87D now, with a few nerfs for Beastmaster and the armlet.
Yeah, in fact I believe Doom got nerfed as well, but I mean the biggest change and the one that I am welcoming with open arms here, thank you Gaben and thank you Ice Frog, is the nerf to that armlet, man. Holy hell, Alchemist and armlet was just a match made in heaven. But possibly now with the extra 45 HP regen per second, or extra 5 HP regen per second, it's gone from 40 to 45. Maybe Alchemist and Armlet are not going to be such a match made in heaven anymore.
Well, yeah, it is getting a little out of hand. I saw armlet on extremely unconventional heroes. I saw a lion pick one up, an enigma even, and I was pretty confused. And those were in tournament games. So yeah, I guess Ice Rock doesn't want to allow those sorts of items to become standard for every hero. You only want to be getting an armlet on a hero who has a natural heal. Alchemist still should be able to pull it off because he has his chemical rage, but
Hmm.
definitely not as popular on unconventional heroes anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, speaking of popular heroes, you've got the Slog coming out for Team Annihilation. Necrophos will be picked up as their. Is that an off-lane Necrophos, or is that just going to be a secondary support Necrophos? Heck, it could even be a mid Necrophos, man. That hero is as versatile as he's unpredictable, man. With a possible late-game Aghanim Scepter on that Necro, it's just really the best tool to shut down and destroy games and turn it on its head at a moment's notice. But for Uni5ive, it looks like a fairly standard team fight oriented draft coming out from them. They've got plenty of AoE spells, lots of magic damage in the early and mid game phase, and good team fight control as well with that gyrocopter pickup.
Right, and they have the Phoenix, which seems to be the standard of the patch. He was nerfed in the recent mini patch. The Sunray's cooldown was increased a little, but overall still very useful for this patch with the way the fights are going, with all-out brawls happening. The Supernova is extremely useful, as are the rest of his skills. So last picks coming out, as the Shadow Fiend and the Tidehunter have been banned.
Yeah, what does Uni5ive go for here? It looks like they need a middle lane hero. Puck's been banned out. Shadow Fiend has been banned as well. They'll go with the Wind Ranger. So there it is. That's going to round out their draft. I like their draft. Looks very well balanced, I'd say, with that Wind Ranger pickup as well. That's really a great tool to deal with the Slock and the Sven. But now Medusa getting picked up. Man, this is a very greedy lineup coming out from Annihilation.
Looks extremely greedy. So I'll be interested to see how they hold this if Uni5ive decide to go for an all-out push, because they've got the Wind Ranger and they've got the Crystal Maiden. Along with the Phoenix, they've got extremely high levels of wave clear, not to mention the Gyrocopter's flak cannon. So they could go down mid lane very, very early, and it's not very easy to defend against that with a Medusa on your team. So especially when you don't have much control in terms of the Necrophos. But of course, if things do hold for Annihilation, they should be able to make something happen because if there is a Reaper scythe, a major Reaper scythe on the gyrocopter or the Wind Ranger, they're gonna have plenty of space to come right back in. And well, I'd say in terms of pure late game potential, they're far ahead, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, I gotta agree with you. The late game does seem like it's tilted towards Annihilation, but it's gonna be really hard for them to get to the late game phase. But as there's a disconnection coming in, this buys us some time to change our overlays and get the teams introduced. Nazo, since you're leading the stream, I'm gonna let you do the introductions here. Why don't you pick a team and begin with it?
All right, so we on the Dire we've got Rapt playing Sven, Shark playing the Lion who hasn't connected to the game yet, Spark on Medusa, Necrophos being played by Subtlety, and Slark playing Slark. So I guess that's his signature hero.
Wow, Captain Obvious in the house here. All right, Uni5ive. On the other side, you've got Pyro handling the Phoenix. You've got God of Potatoes playing the Crystal Maiden. Um, U5 dot para on the gyrocopter. I love this gyrocopter set, man. This pirate set or whatever it's called. It's freaking awesome. I will be playing the Faceless Void and Savvy Slytherin on the Phoenix. No, wait, did I call out the Phoenix as Savvy Slytherin? It's Wind Ranger. My mistake.
So speaking of Slark playing Slark, Pyro is playing Phoenix. So uh,
Yeah, I mean, everybody just really wants to make themselves known here. Slark playing Slark, Pyro playing Phoenix. But I mean, Pyro could mean multiple things, right? There's plenty of flame-oriented heroes, the Batrider, Lena.
right, we got Ember Spirit. There are loads of heroes. All right.
Mhm.
So meanwhile, we've got shoutouts coming out to their parents and the team's
His
armor.
mom and dad, man. What a nice guy. I'm sure his parents are so proud of him. Para. I really hope that he's one of those dudes whose parents supports playing professional Dota, man. There's a real lack of those in the Indian Dota 2 scene, and I would love to see more parents getting behind their children's dreams and ambitions, just as long as it doesn't come at the cost of good results in college and school, man. But yeah, more about this game. Wind Ranger is going to be at the middle lane. I'm curious to see who's heading mid for Annihilation, really, because it does look like they've got multiple options to possibly go mid. The Necrophos, the Medusa, maybe even the Slark if they're feeling a little ambitious here.
The smoke is coming out into the jungle as the Radiant have completely moved on to the other side. So again, we may be seeing a clean trade off for the bounty runes. Sven leading the charge has Stormhammer ready.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to find anyone, though. They should be able to just secure this one bounty rune for themselves. While on the top side, U5 will get the bounty rune for the Wind Ranger. So it's going to be Wrapped picking up the bounty rune. So possibly a mid Sven? We've seen it in the past, man, but it's unconventional, I have to say. And it's not a hero that does too well versus the Wind Ranger.
I definitely advise against a mid Sven because usually it's viable if you have a support who can rotate in and help you out. But the Lion's going to be hard pressed as it is, and the Necrophos isn't really going to be trying to jump around the map a lot. So
Well,
definitely not
looks
the
like
choice here.
it won't be a mid Sven, though. Thank you for that. It's going to be Spark on the Medusa playing the middle lane. We should have actually called this out. He's got two pool tangos, and it usually is an indicator of the hero that's heading mid.
So one thing I'd like to call attention to is the fact that this Slark level pounce very early, well before they smoked up, I believe, and
Hmm.
it is a popular choice to level Essence Shift first. So he did go for the pounce very early. He was hoping for kill, but on the other side, the Wind Ranger and the Phoenix hadn't leveled anything yet. So if you're watching, folks, try and hold on to your skill points for your. Well, you can start wait for the laning phase to start and then throw them in. So, all right. So let's bring up the last hits. We've got Wind Ranger doing pretty well against Medusa. In fact, Medusa still has to open her account as bottom lane. The Slark Necrophos dual off lane will be fielded against the Crystal Maiden, the Phoenix, and the Gyrocopter as Faceless Void goes off against Lion and Sven. Shouldn't be
What
too.
is this? I mean, I've never seen a Necrophos and a Slark duel offlane before. I mean, I know that Necrophos is one of those supports that you throw in just to keep your core alive and to annoy your opponents, but This is a lane with a gyrocopter, a phoenix, and a straight up stun in the form of that crystal maiden. They could just make mincemeat out of that necrophos in a matter of seconds if they're not careful.
Well, that's true, but of course, Slark is the sort of hero who loves having Necrophos as his lane mate, mainly because he only faces trouble until he reaches level 6. As long as he can stay at full health until that point, he should be able to run through the rest of the game pretty comfortably.
I don't know, man. I feel like the Dazzle would have been a much better choice there if they wanted the defensive support for that Slark, because with the Dazzle they've got a bit more survivability. Necro by himself he's kind of squishy, I'd say, and he's definitely susceptible to a frostbite into a rocket barrage to bring him down. But who knows? Maybe they'll prove us wrong. As top lane, we're seeing Void duke it out with Shark. He's not gonna want a man fight versus a faceless Void, who just time walked all of the damage from that Earth Spike there.
Right, and he's got a poor man shield as well, so definitely will be winning any right click wars. As Necrophos, I'd be really interested to see what this Necrophos will be building. Guardian Greaves seem to be the optimal choice. It will allow the lion to go for his blink dagger.
Heck, I'd be surprised if this Necrophos got even a mech this game, man. I mean, I this does seem like U5 are just gonna group up once they get their level 6s online, and they're just gonna fight every time that Chronosphere is off cooldown. Chronosphere doesn't exactly have the shortest cooldown at level 6 at least, but I'm assuming you'll be building towards an Aghanim Scepter eventually.
Well, I guess you could say that with the from the looks of the drafts, if this Necrophos ever completes the Guardian Greaves, his team is going to win the game. If the game goes that late. So as Sven has Gloves of Haste, maybe looking at a Hand of Midas, but
No, 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 no,
not.
no. Let's not go down that road, man. I don't
Yeah,
want to
I'd
see a
say he should
Midas
go
on
for the
Sven.
Dreads because they've already invested so much late game into the draft that investing in a Midas in any of these heroes is going to set them back far too backward to be able to hold the game. So definitely not a good choice.
Yeah, but this Void man, he knows what he's doing. Well, maybe not entirely because he's now sitting with the time walk on cooldowns. Sven uses that as an opportunity to drop a storm bolt in his face. Bottom lane though, Pyro, he could be going down to the slog here. He does have the Icarus dive, and he'll manage to increase the gap.
Well, there's a god of potatoes there to protect him with his frostbite. As meanwhile, Spark seems to be having a terrible time against Savvy Slytherin. He's been completely forced far beyond his tower as the tower finally starts getting hit by the Wind Ranger's bottom lane. Slark going in, looking for God of Potatoes, but Gyrocopter blocking, preventing any pounces. As the Sunray, the damage coming out from the Sunray is unbelievable as the Gyrocopter will chase down the Necrophos first blood as Slark trying to find something on Pyro but gets frostbit and pounces away. Will be able to make it out, but it's pretty harsh for him to lose his lane mate that quickly against the Sunray. They were completely underestimating how much damage it could do. It did get nerfed, but that was only the cooldown this patch. So still a force to be reckoned with in this patch, the Phoenix Sunray.
Yep. Both teams really contesting first blood there. I mean, while that was happening at bottom top lane, you had the Void almost getting picked off by the Sven and the Lion. So yeah, lots of action coming up. Just one kill so far. As we're 5 minutes in, let's have a look at the net worth chart. Then it's the Wind Ranger and the Gyrocopter sitting on top. So both cores on the side of the Radiant, with 2800 on the Wind Ranger and 2500 on the Gyrocopter, taking the lead.
Top lane Void gets Earth spiked up and throws out the Chronosphere. Will get a kill on the line. And he will walk
Oh,
out comfortably.
that is cheeky indeed.
I think he's well within his limits to go for that because he would have had to time walk out. Instead, he chose to time walk in and use the Chronosphere. Good call from him there. Well deserved kill. So, in terms of last hits, Wind Ranger's actually gotten 40 last hits over the Medusa's 13. So, we were talking about how this would go into the late game, but at this rate, if your mid is losing this hard, I don't know how much this Medusa is going to be able to contribute to their mid game. They may not have enough to hold it if this keeps up. He's going to have to make up for it
Yeah,
with
this
static
is
ability.
this is turning very ugly for the Medusa man at middle lane. 42 CS is no joke. 60 minutes, 6 minutes in, and Medusa at just 13 is getting completely crushed here. It's only a matter of time before the Wind Ranger finds a good shackle shot and possibly even solo kills that Medusa. She's already bullying her out of the lane entirely, just spamming out those power shots and keeping her at bay.
Meanwhile, Faceless Void is doing extremely well, fourth on the network chart, has a completed set of power treads now. As Sven and Lion trying to find him, but will not be able to do so. At bottom lane, the Sunray again burns through the Necroforce. Unbelievable damage coming out from
We talked
Pyro.
about this, man. We kind of called this, man. Bottom lane is not going to be a fun place for this Necrophos to be in, and he's already suffered his second death at the hands of that Phoenix Sunray and the Gyro Rocket Barrage. Top lane, meanwhile, you were talking about the Void being a complete boss. I have to say I'm in agreement, man. He's got Power Treads and Orb of Venom. He's up to 7, and he's almost got the Chronosphere back online, which means he should be looking at another kill on the Lion in the next 10 seconds or so.
Meanwhile, Windranger absolutely having fun here. She's basically uncontested as Necroforce is coming in with Medusa, but even with the two of them, what are they really gonna do? She can just walk over to the side and say, "Hello, I'm just gonna keep shooting. More space for my team." As she collects the rune, it will be double damage, so should be looking at something very interesting coming out here.
Yeah, this could be a kill if they're not careful. Savvy Slytherin's been scouted, but they know that he's actually committed all the way in here. He's been
So he's
triggered.
activated the rune. Meanwhile, top lane, Void is going in onto Lion, will throw out the Chronosphere, but he does not catch the Sven. The Stormhammer will go at it. He will be able to collect on the Lion. As mid lane, the other altercation means that Medusa has gone down to the double damage Wind Ranger. So
Yeah,
things going very well
Uni5,
for
man.
Uni5 so far.
They're playing good Dota,
I
man.
guess
Let's not
Annihilation
take
have
anything
sort
away
of
from them here.
been
They're playing
outdrafted.
some really
They've
good
been
Dota.
far too greedy with the Medusa, Sven, and Slark combo. Necroforce did make a good call leaving this lane to let Slark get his ultimate, but he seems to have rotated back. I think he may be better suited in the jungle, getting some stacks for Sven or Medusa to catch up again, but looks like he isn't doing anything of the sort.
Yeah, well, Sven's actually struggling to get his helm
So
online
we've
just
got
yet.
Crystal
He
Maiden.
opted.
She's moved up to top lane. She did come for the previous gank. Did help clean up on the line, but mid lane the tower's already gone down and looks like someone's lost their branch. There was a happy tree planted. As Medusa pops the stone gaze for seemingly no reason.
Hmm. Savvy Slytherin, man. He's almost got the Maelstrom online now. Just the Gloves of Haste pending.
As the wraparound comes down from the smoked Lion and Necroforce, the Earth Spike will connect on Savvy Slytherin, but he's going to be able to run away with his wind run. He gets hexed up, but unfortunately for the side of Annihilation, they have nowhere near enough damage to take him out. Runs out with well more than half of his HP. As Slark now getting sunrayed up, look at that damage. He's just being forced to juke that out. Does hold that
that
pretty well, but
that is disgusting, man. Sunray should not be a spell in Dota anymore. Phoenix is just it's only been a while since we've seen Phoenix is actually maxing out the Sunray over and above the Icarus type as an aggressive support now as opposed to the offlaner. Slark could be going down yet again, man. The Sunray is coming back in 2 seconds, and he knows that if he's not careful, he's a dead one here, forcing
he
himself off of
almost
the
has
tower.
his ultimate, so we'll be able to heal back up if he just gets a little more experience. It's 50 experience more, but Phoenix
Whoa,
has nothing doing this. He
Pyro.
goes in with the supernova, and Necroforce will get absolutely blown up as Slark manages to run away. And Pyro says, "I am reborn," and comes back in. This tower will be going down very, very quickly to U5 Para. Speaking of heroes who have names according to their uh, characters, players with their characters, top lane Sven is getting chronoed up and punched at by God of Potatoes. Pops the God Strength, goes back in, may not be the best choice as the Earth Spike does not connect, and the Sven will go down for his audacity as the Lion also getting chased down. Beautifully done by the Void and the Crystal Maiden. They get the lucky time locks as well.
Nazo, I have just one thing to say about that, man. This Void knows exactly what he's doing. He knows how much damage he can soak up before popping the Time Walk, knowing that the disables were on cooldown for the Lion. He played that one perfectly, and Crystal Maiden was there to just supplement his core to get a double kill there.
Right, and it may have been mitigated if the Earth Spike landed, but it looked like Lion was confused about whether to stun Void or Crystal Maiden. And The spike went right in between as the shackle will miss on the Slark. Sunray comes out. They chase really deep here. Yeah, as I would say,
Disgusting, man. Disgusting. They're both down half HP on the back of one Sunray. How is that fair?
this
You
guy's name
five,
is Para, and that fits for the gyrocopter as well.
man.
Slark
I
gets a
think
deny on the tower.
that's a bit of a stretch, man. But yeah, at least they're gonna get the deny. But they're yet to get a single kill on the board, man. Where 12 minutes in, again the net worth. It's just if you look at the chart again, 5,000 net worth for all three cores on the side of U5, and they're just crushing Annihilator or Annihilation. Sorry.
Let's have a look at the net worth charts. We got wow, they've got well over 10,000 net worth now in favor of Uni5. So of course, this could work against them if they mess up. Of course, I don't see that happening, but if they do lose a major team fight, that will be a huge swing to Annihilation, of course. I'm not sure what exactly is got to happen for that. What is the condition for them to lose a team fight? Stone Gaze, botch chrono on all your teammates. I don't think that's going to happen, seeing as the Void's been on top of his game so far. As top lane, the shackle goes off onto Wrapped, beautifully done with the frostbite also being thrown out, and the shackle shot will ensure that the focus fire gets the maelstrom kill.
Well, actually, God of Potatoes got it, but I think that was very smart play from the Crystal Maiden as well, recognizing that the Sven was probably gonna outlive the focus fire damage. He held on to the Frost Blast to get magic damage dished out when the Warcry gets popped. Well done there by God of Potatoes.
He has maxed the frost blast. Meanwhile, Slark holding on to a ring of Aquila, trying to get some farm in the jungle. As bottom lane, Gyrocopter completely uncontested. Meanwhile, his teammates are having no trouble taking down the top tower. As rotations come in, Sven, Necrophos Lion, the entirety of Annihilation, walking through the trees, Slark will lead the way. He's trying to wrap around here as Gyrocopter realizes what's going on and he TPs in, so they're looking to fight. Phoenix.
Yeah,
Chrono
oh,
goes
big
out
chrono
onto
once again.
Spark and Shark. Shark will go down first as Savvy Slytherin actually collects both of the kills. Slug coming in with onto God of Potatoes, but the Supernova on top of the call down will take them all out. Complete team wipe here for the side of Uni5, taking down all the heroes on the side of Annihilation. 14-0 now. Huge net worth lead, over 13,000. And they will march
Man,
right down to the tier 2.
that combo execution from U5 gave me a funny feeling inside, man. That looks so good. Chronosphere initiation, you had the counter initiation from the call down and the Phoenix Supernova. God of Potatoes being the bait for his team. Perfect execution, and they completely deserve that 5-0 team wipe there. Unfortunately for Annihilation, man, they're the ones getting annihilated here.
Well, yeah, and I'd like to bring attention to this line sitting at 530, 514 out of 600. Experience does not have the finger of death to. It could be significant in taking out the void, but well,
Speaking of Void, he actually dived in YOLO here. Again, he's gonna try and be bait. This time he'll die, but the
that call
cavalry
down,
has arrived.
that call down just melted their entire team. Only Slark managed to get away, but he's getting chased down as well as the gyrocopter will get the kill and do a taunt to boot. A barrel roll for them as they get a triple kill for him and a complete team wipe again. It looks like the Faceless Void disconnected. It's probably. Was that why he. Well, we have no way of knowing, but totally worth it for
Yeah.
his team once again.
Absolutely, man. That's maybe it wasn't the most intentional bait from him, but it worked out well because that again, that's the beauty of U5's lineup, right? They've got low cooldown spells like the Call Down and the Rocket Barrage. They've got this Phoenix with the Sunray who can be useful even without having that Supernova, and of course, there's the Wind Ranger who, despite not having the focus fire, is a real threat on the battlefield with the long range disables, long duration disables of the Shackle Shot and the nuke from the Power Shot. 19-1, man. At least they got that one consolation kill on the Void. It was a dominating streak taken away by the Slark, but I don't think it's nearly enough to make a comeback in this game as U5 are 15,000 net worth ahead. They've got a 14,000 EXP lead going their way. They've taken out almost every single tier, well, outer tower for the Dire side, and with that bottom tier 2 still standing, I think it's only a matter of time before U5 takes it and claims the Aegis from the Rosh pit before pushing high ground.
Absolutely. And a little credit for that gyrocopter. He landed that cooldown on all 5 heroes of Annihilation, completely annihilating them. So we've got Tranquil Boots, and yeah, I guess this Pyro is going full support now, with Crystal Maiden being allowed to pick up both a Glimmer Cape and well on her way to a 4 staff after
Oh,
also getting a Midas. So this is a really, really rich Crystal Maiden we're looking at. As mid lane, Pyro gets hexed up, and Shark misses the stun again. Once again, he is confused about who to throw out the Earth Spike on. Gets a weak
it.
shackle onto him. Slark going in onto Pyro. The Finger of Death will get thrown out onto Slytherin, but he just wind runs away as the Chronosphere comes out onto Wrapped. As the Supernova
Oh,
also goes out, Annihilation's forced to
this.
back off as Savvy Slytherin comes back in. Wrapped throws out the Storm Hammer onto Faceless Void as Pyro jumps in. Spark getting hit up. Slark waiting on the sidelines. And Spark goes down. Slark manages to catch Savvy Slytherin, will get the kill onto her, but he will be going down in return because he does not have access to the Shadow Dance. 40 seconds, and Pyro will collect him as well. So, Medusa and Slark for the Wind Ranger, and she will be buying back and TPing right back in. So, this will be an objective for them. It looks like they're going to collect the tier 2.
Yep, tier 2 tower should be easy peasy here, but we spoke about the beauty of U5's execution before in the top lane. This time it was a little underwhelming, I'd say, but they still managed to come out ahead by sheer virtue of how far ahead they are in this game. I mean, you saw the Phoenix, the Supernova was a little behind. It was a zoning Supernova, if anything, to try and stun the Sven once he came out of the Chronosphere, but that allowed Sven the time to walk a little bit behind. But as the dust settles, the Wind Ranger did manage to come back in for round two. She got the shackle on the Medusa, and they managed to secure the kill. The buyback even secures them this objective in the form of the tier 2. Now the question is, do they commit to Roshan?
Well, they certainly seem to be doing so as the shackle goes out. And the focus fire has been used on the tier 2, I believe, so not available for the Roshan attempt. He does have Blink Dagger. Will have no trouble jumping on anyone who comes in because there is an Observer Ward here, so pretty much impossible for
Oh, what's going on
Annihilation,
here?
who seem to have disconnected all at once.
Rage quit, Kappa.
Well, at this point, you could hardly fault them.
Para is worried, man. What's going on here? But yeah, I mean, it's probably an internet issue at their cafe. Most of these teams playing the Premiership, they've taken time out and they've actually committed to going down to cafes. Even yesterday, we saw a team that made special, I would say, preparations to play their tournament match. But it's unfortunate when the entire cafe internet goes down, man.
Indeed, it is. As Phoenix is looking to build a Shiva's guard now. So,
Yeah, these are
is
just
there
luxury items, man.
is there any win condition at all for the Dire at this point? What do they
A
have to?
five-man DC from Uni5, man. That's the only way that the Dire wins.
Well, as we've seen, this is not a pub game, so we do have pauses. So, other than that, what do you think? It's like, do they have to misclick all of their buttons, have Void throw
No,
Chronosphere and
I mean,
everything?
in all seriousness, there's that really 1% small tiny chance where you get like a four-man Stormbolt and then followed up with a Stone Gaze, maybe a massive Earth Spike, but it's all just wishful thinking. And Uni5 is they'd have to walk in a straight line like a choo-choo train into the enemy base if they want to get caught like that, man. And that really doesn't happen ever in Dota.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's gonna be very difficult for um, Annihilation to come back from this. But if there's one place that they can make a stand, it's on their high ground. If U5 jumps in with a Void, unprepared, jumping in with a poor Chronosphere, who knows, man? Maybe, just maybe Annihilation could punish it. Because Void's actually opted to get an Echo Saber as opposed to a Blink Dagger, so his initiation range is limited to 675 on the Time Walk.
Well, I'm actually slightly skeptical about that as well because let's have a look at the hero levels now. We've got basically only Phoenix at level 9 on the side of the Radiant. Everyone else is 11 and 12. And the highest on the side of the Dire is also 9. So That's basically 4 level 2 ultimates on the side of the Radiant that the Dire do not have access to. So Annihilation all have only level 1 ultimates. That might matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's just again we're just reiterating the fact that U5 is so far ahead, man. Their spells do more damage, their auto attacks do more damage, they're more mobile, they're a lot more tanky. The only thing that Annihilation has going in their favor is that high ground advantage, which could be mitigated with one Observer Ward or maybe a Blink Dagger on the Void. Unfortunately, he's opted not to get the Blink, but even then, man, I don't think it matters because after this Aegis, Para's probably just going to walk up onto the high ground by himself and start pummeling away at that tier 3 tower. There's very little creep clear or range creep clear from Annihilation. They can throw out the Mystic Snake and try and get in position for that Earth Spike, but they're always risking their own lives when they try and do that to clear a creep wave.
Right? If they can't possibly afford to use the Earth Spike on creeps. It's the only sort of hard commitment they can bring to the fight other than the Stormhammer. So definitely not an option there. So Necrophos out for T. As who we got here? Sven. Sven has a Helm of the Dominator. Not quite enough to work miracles with.
Yeah, there's just no opportunities for him to stack up creeps and get back in. For those of you on stream, we know that Nazo's volume is a little low, but unfortunately his mic is potato. But Nazo has promised us that he will get a better microphone soon, or we riot.
So Necro came back and Lion left.
Yeah, they've got high pings, man. They're just reconnecting to hope that fixes it. I don't want to blame them entirely. Of course, this is clearly an issue on their internet end or their PC end or whatever. But the SEA servers have been acting up of late. There have been complaints about packet loss. Heck, Reddit had a front page thread about SEA servers going potato yesterday.
Alright. So I've boosted my OBS volume just a little bit, so hopefully you guys can hear me now.
Nazo lives.
Actually, feedback is welcomed because this is gonna affect the rest of the matches I'm casting. So yeah, let me know, Twitch chat. Can you hear me?
So for this Roshan, man, do you think it's smarter to give the Aegis to the Void and let him just dive in YOLO, or do you think the safer option is just put it on the gyro and use him to take down the tower?
Right, you can put it on the gyro, you can also put it on the Wind Ranger. No dearth of choices for Uni5ive. I'd say they would put it on the gyro. So they're building Dragonlance on the gyrocopter, is what it looks like. Is that should be a Dragonlance, right?
Yeah, it should be Dragonlance. It's not too bad actually, especially when they're trying to end the game this early on.
Right.
You effectively increase the range of your flak cannons as well. Shout out to 10 spectators, God of Potatoes, stream sniper confirmed.
Well, if he
At
keeps up
16, I'll have you know.
if he keeps up with his team the way they're going, should be at least 100 pretty quickly.
PogChamp. But yeah, this will be the Aegis claimed quite comfortably by Savvy Slytherin or Para. Nothing that Annihilation can do to contest this. Lion, his Blink Dagger is a pipe dream at this moment. He's just going to be really happy that he has the Finger of Death available in 30 seconds. So that's the only tool that they have to blow up a hero before U5 can react. But we're going to see another pause coming out soon because Necrophos has left the building.
Once again. Meanwhile, this Crystal Maiden. I don't think I've seen a position. I think she was position 5 at the start of the game, but now she's 4th on the net worth chart. She was ahead of the Faceless Void just a moment ago.
That value Midas, man, it's working.
Slark hasn't gotten his hands on a mobility item yet, so gonna be difficult for him to fight as well. Surprised he hasn't picked up an Orb of Venom yet.
Who, the Slark?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's looking at the long-term benefits of picking up bigger items, man. This is a guy that dreams big. He doesn't want to dream of small items like the Orb of Venom. It's go big or go bust. Buy out the full Scotty or don't buy anything at all, man.
Meanwhile, I
But
can
with
see
1600 in the bank, does he go for a blink? Does he go for a catch up Midas? Does he try and get the Shadow Blade after everything, or is he just safe for buyback here?
I certainly don't think the Midas is an option. I would slightly prefer the Shadow Blade over the Blink. In fact, when the patch started out, I thought the Shadow Blade was better. But then, as time progressed, I realized the Blink was better in certain situations. This is not one of them. The Shadow Blade is better when you want to fight and go into the fight, take damage, heal up in the middle of the fight without backing out. You can
Hmm.
go invisible and stay in the fight, assuming your opponents don't have detection, which let's see if Uni5ive does. In fact, they don't. So, a Shadow Blade will allow him to stay close to the fight. A Blink Tag will force him to back out much further.
That's true. This is definitely not a Blink Dagger game for him. If anything, it is a Shadow Blade game. But one thing I'm against is if this Lock is actually saving up that money for his buyback, because yeah, if you're not gonna win the fight one time, a buyback is probably not gonna help him either. He needs that firepower, whatever little extra bit he can get to dish out some damage before the U5 team starts turning it around on them.
I'm slightly surprised. All of their names start with D, but their team name is Annihilation.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's the Annihilation with a D for the. No, I'm just kidding,
So,
man. I have absolutely no idea why they started with a D. It's probably one of those One Piece things, man, where it's Monkey D. Luffy and Trafalgar D. Law. So it's the will of D, man, for those of you anime fans in chat. We've seen a lot of teams actually. There seems to be a very strong correlation between Dota 2 or gaming in general and anime, man.
mm-hmm,
And these teams love to show it. Just earlier on, we saw a team that had their entire name uh, listed down as the Straw Hat Pirates.
mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool to watch. But yeah, moving on with this game, Slark will get scouted and hit with the shackle shot. He's not gonna die. Maybe he will. The power shot lined up, but doesn't find the mark. Slark will juke it. Well, Sven uses that time to take down a tower at top. So it's something going in their favor, but their home is now being desecrated as the Gyro and the Void have stepped into sacred ground for the Dire.
Glyph getting thrown out, but nowhere near enough as four heroes from the side of Uni5ive. In fact, Phoenix is waiting in the backlines for an Icarus dive. Sunday,
Again, healing
Medusa
him up.
punch. So Stone Gaze
Oh,
was
Stone Gaze. It does actually catch the Void, but yep, three-man Chronosphere, three-man call down, double kill for the Void, one for the Medusa, and the Crystal Maiden continues to do the icy dance on the side while the line goes down. The Void was the one actually holding on to the ages, so he could afford to jump forward like that.
Crystal Maiden seems to want this Sven. Those are the Frost Blast.
Oh, she's just out of range, but she
Forced
didn't
off the
have.
other way.
She did have the frostbite actually. She could have caught him
Yeah, she
if
was
she
trying
knew
to
where he
force
was.
staff down the cliff, but couldn't get the turn rate fast enough to go down. She went the other way instead. So, looking disastrous for Annihilation. Over 25,000 net worth difference now. Blink Dagger up on the Sven for his efforts at top lane.
Yeah, we're looking at one lane of Raxus taken away. 20 minutes in, 25 to 2. So 3-2-2 will not be real this game, but who knows, man? 30 and 3 could.
30
It's
and 3.
really standard. It's just textbook Dota now for U5. They group up, they take another tier 3, they finish the game on the
Sammy's
back of a
Slytherin
team
just
wipe.
walking in into three heroes. This is
Uh-oh.
exactly what Annihilation is waiting for.
Look
Misses
at
the
that! Oh
taunt.
no! He used the Reaper Scythe on Necrophos on the Gyro illusion there, but uh, he's actually calling out a GG. So you shouldn't do that, man.
I'm
Because in
not
a
sure
tournament
what the
that could
tournament
count
would
as an
allow him.
official call. Yeah, clearly he's got that
Habit.
as a habit on his chat wheel. But yeah, I guess that can be excused. Wind Ranger's down, a bit of a throw coming out from us, so this game's gonna get extended a little longer.
It was a pretty surprising play from her. She went in, used the shackle on the Sven, got it, saw three heroes there, and then decided to walk right in front of them.
Hmm. Top lane Void, he's continuing to push out the lane. He's actually picked up a Yasha on himself, so he's just going straight up raw damage and attack speed this game.
No reason not to.
Um,
As Shark, 1,000 gold used to buy more wards. Dragonlance now completed on the gyrocopter. Shiva's almost done on the Phoenix. In fact, it's on the courier. Faceless Void standing by. Sven does not
he's
know.
got a blink dagger though, so they do have an opportunity to initiate. But again, we talk about early blinks on Sladas. With this blink coming on in the Sven 22 minutes in, he has a lot riding on his shoulders to try and make something happen. Chrono gets dropped. Lion will be picked off. Sven actually blinks into the Chronosphere there. Oh, what have you done, Void? He actually time walked right into the Lion's face. Why would he do that? That's death right there. 1200 gold for the Slark on the back of one kill. The
Yeah.
comeback, man, could be real. Who knows?
I'm not sure. Uni5ive is sort of throwing now first the Wind Ranger, now the Faceless Void. That is actually a triple misplay there. The Lion had plenty of time to hex up the Faceless Void. The Faceless Void used the Chrono and messed up the time walk, and the Sven blinked into the Chronosphere and could not save his teammate. As Savvy Slytherin jumps in and uses the Focus Fire, Slark goes in onto Phoenix, but Pyro just Icarus dives away.
Yeah, but I mean, that was totally not worth it for the Void, man. He dropped a
Absolutely not.
Chronosphere on a Lion who respawned in what, 20 seconds? Now he's the one suffering inside the death pit, and once he's back, he's not gonna have the Chronosphere either. U5 doesn't have an Aegis either, and if you look at that net worth graph, while it wasn't a steady rise earlier on, it's kind of stabilized, so they cannot afford to throw anymore.
Well, the Slark got the Shadow Blade off the Wind Ranger kill, and now that the Sven also went down in front of him, he's got 1,400 gold. Just a little more, and the Slark will be extremely difficult to deal with. But still not
Yeah,
quite. Still not quite what Annihilation needs. They're gonna need way more to close such a huge deficit. Meanwhile,
we spoke about
Medusa.
we actually spoke about the late game phase being in favor of Annihilation.
Mhm.
If they can somehow manage to keep this game going for another 15 minutes or so, I think we could see the makings of a comeback. Meanwhile, the admin just casually vomiting on our screen. So we see a pause coming out and then an instant resume. Playing on 1000 ping. That is unfortunate. That's tier 3 tower number 2 going down, and it's only a matter of time before the second set of Raxes will fall as well. 4-star forward. What on earth was that? There's the shackle. Doesn't manage to connect. Big Earth Spike comes through. The Stone Gaze will follow it up. Para, he'll turn around, so he's not going to get stunned up. But Pyro, he's not going to be as fortunate. He'll go down to the Necrophos. That's a dominating streak taken away. But look at God of Potatoes, man. Doing work with that Chronosphere thrown down. It's a team wipe. Triple buyback from the Dire as well. But the Raxes will still go down.
I just realized this is the circle strat coming out from Uni5ive. They've got the circles on the floor, Chronosphere, Freezing Field, Call Down, all circles. So get one
That's a
circle down, you
plus.
get the rest.
And well, Phoenix's egg is a semicircle as well, so.
Right? Savvy Slytherin just turned up.
Uh, this is just yeah, it's a complete massacre in this top lane. This game is done. It's a dieback on the Sven, I believe, and Medusa gets sent back to the fountain. Meanwhile, Slark, he's doing his bit behind, trying to keep things going, but he's been frostbitten now, and he'll get chopped to bits by the Wind Ranger. I think it's only a matter of time before the GG gets called out here, unless they'll play this to the very bitter end.
Slark was going in on the Crystal Maiden on a matter of principle. He's like, oh, that's the Crystal Maiden. That's the hero I'm supposed to be able to take out easily. But there's an unstoppable streak on the Crystal Maiden. She has double Slark's net worth. So, absolutely nothing he can do to her. She has a Glimmer Cape, a Yule Scepter, 4 staff, and now she's building a Sanjin Yasha. She's just trolling at this point.
Yep, carry Crystal Maiden, man. But one lane of Rax is left, and there's absolutely nothing at this point that Annihilation can really do to defend this. They're playing with 2 Raxes behind a 30,000 net worth and EXP deficit. And there's the BKB picked up on the gyro as well. So everything and more that they need to end this game is in the hands of Uni5ive. The question is, how long will they wait before actually delivering the finishing blow?
Ideally, not very long because it looks like Roshan is almost back, and Void just time walks right in, just as I say that. As yeah, it's the timer's almost back, so they should be collecting this Roshan and going top. Not much. And once again, it's very, very difficult for Annihilation to take the initiative. They can't really go out of their base. Their draft doesn't allow them to do anything other than stand inside their high ground and defend. They can't do anything else. You can't afford to go and look for Uni5. They have to wait for Uni5 to come to them. So Black
Yeah,
King
they've
Bar now on
lost
Terraco.
snap control. Look at this now. Oh, there we go. The Shackle connects online. Double damage just decimates him. Stone Gaze doing absolutely nothing, just stoning a couple of neutral creeps there. Slark's going in, but got a potatoes. He's got a glimmer cape at the ready. He should not be going down. No, scratch that. He fights back with the freezing field. That's a dead Slark, a dead Lion, and a double damage in the Wind Ranger. I think this one is in the bag.
This is what I was talking about. You go onto the Crystal Maiden on a matter of principle. I'm a Slark, that's a Crystal Maiden. But then it completely backfires because net worth is a thing.
Yeah, that last skill has just demoralized him, man. They're gonna call the GG, and that'll end this game. I think.
So, right. So,
Oh, they want to
overall,
report someone?
other than the draft, which was clearly the biggest issue for them, what do you think they could have done differently?
Um, I don't want to fault the draft too much because I think they could have still made it work. I feel like they needed to actually switch up their lanes a bit though. Um, Realizing that the bottom lane was a lost cause, I think the Necrophos should have just left the lane, maybe moved up to the top side and helped out his Sven to get some more farm because the Void just got so far ahead in that lane where he should have been shut down. Um, if they could have kept the Void at bay, if they could have slowed down his growth, if they could have somehow made a rotation towards the middle lane on the Wind Ranger and let the Medusa get a little more farm, I feel like they'd have had the tools to deal with at least the high ground push, if not their tier 1s and tier 2s. Annihilation, though, this was a sign of a team that's not very experienced or a team that's not played too many competitive matches. So let's just hope that they come back stronger the next time around. For now, though, this is Clarix and Nazo. Nazo, it's been an absolute pleasure casting with you today. But CSGO will be coming up next with Blair from So Strong taking you with that one.